You know, right now there's a lot going on in the news that we want to get to. I mean, changes are coming down from lawmakers both at the federal and local levels, and that includes a freeze on funding around the country and a new balance of power in the state Senate. A breakdown of how both of those changes will impact you. But first, let's check in with Mace. A little cooler than yesterday, but still nice.
Yeah, very nice for this time of year. If you like warm weather in January and a little break from the bitter cold, we have it for you once again today. Yesterday, near record setting, we made it to 47. It's going to be tough to not make it to 47 tomorrow with even more sunshine and a southwesterly wind. I'll get into that later on. We have cloudy skies over the area now, but I see some sunny breaks at times as I look out in the backyard. So a little bit of sun at moments, and that'll help to push us at least into the upper 30s today, mid 30s to upper 30s. And we're already at 34 here in the metro. Cold front, though, sinking down through northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin has pulled the temperatures back a little bit. Upper 20s towards Brainerd and even only in the teens from Bemidji through Grand Rapids and Duluth. But most of the area will be well into the 30s today. See some of the clouds moving through with the cold front that's pushing by now, but no precipitation with it. And look at all that sunshine back to our west. That's what we'll see try to sneak in through the afternoon. Already seeing that again in western Minnesota, and it will push in full force for tomorrow. Could be record setting. Temperatures again well into the 30s today with a mix of sun and clouds. More on tomorrow and the week ahead, CC, in a little bit.
All right. Thank you, Mace. Our top story at noon, new details about an attack on a Fridley student athlete at a high school basketball game last night. The Robbinsdale School District sent out a letter this morning. It says the attack happened shortly after the start of the basketball game at Robbinsdale Cooper High School. The district says a group of people assaulted a Fridley player with a pipe while they were on the bench. Coaches moved student athletes to safety and the gym went into lockdown. The suspects took off, but New Hope police tell us they've arrested 3 adult men and 2 younger men. The district says the suspects aren't Robbinsdale area schools students. Today, support services will be available for students processing what happened. Wild story there. Now to this story impacting the entire country. A Trump administration plan to freeze federal funding is now on hold after a judge stepped in to block the order. Still, states are scrambling to figure out what to do if the pause takes effect in a week. Michelle Beck has more for us.
Right now, state governments, schools, and nonprofits around the country are on edge to learn where they will get their funding. For now, they wait at least till Monday. That's how long a judge has put a pause on this White House order. The Trump administration planned to freeze federal grants and loans to make sure they're in line with the president's priorities. So what does that threaten? For one, it's the $1.8 billion the state of Minnesota says it gets in federal funding every month. The White House has said its order is not a blanket pause on all assistance, but nonprofit groups plus 22 states, including Minnesota, are suing the president over this.
I understand that the people voted, and Kamala Harris and I lost an election to Donald Trump. 77 million people voted for him. That's 23% of the population. That is not a mandate to squash the Constitution.
Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause.
And remember, the judge's pause on this order is till Monday. That'll give the judge time to hear arguments about why she should block the freeze for another 2 weeks. Back to you.
Thanks to Michelle for that breakdown. The Trump administration is also offering buyouts to millions of federal workers. In the last 24 hours, those workers received emails offering them pay and benefits through September if they choose to resign. The workers have until February 6th to make that decision. The White House expects up to 10% of the federal workforce to take the severance, which they say will save about $100 billion. Today, President Donald Trump is also expected to sign the first law of this term. It's centered on immigration. The Laken Riley Act requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain undocumented migrants for certain crimes. That includes things like burglary or any incidents resulting in death or serious injury. The law is named after a 22-year-old woman who was killed by a Venezuelan immigrant last year. While this law is mostly backed by Republicans, dozens of Democrats voted its favor too. Still, experts say there's no connection between immigration and crime.
Because of bad apples, not all of us should pay.
Americans are very clear. They want more border security, but they also want an opportunity for sane immigration reform that stabilizes and fixes our broken immigration system.
ICE has reported thousands of arrests just this week. Agents are working under a quota of 75 arrests per day. Since this morning, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been facing senators for his confirmation hearing. Kennedy is President Trump's pick to lead the Health and Human Services Department. In the last 24 hours, his cousin, Caroline Kennedy, urged senators not to confirm him, calling him a predator. In a scathing letter, the former U.S. ambassador went on to say he lacks any relevant experience and holds dangerous and misinformed views on vaccines. RFK Jr. declined to comment. They have confirmed he would oversee the CDC and the FDA. Back here at home, the results are in for the election to fill the open state Senate seat. DFL candidate Doran Clark won with 90% of the vote. He'll fill the spot left after DFL Senator Kerry Dietzick passed away last month. That win tips the scales in the Minnesota Senate by 1 vote. Audrey Russo has a look at the impact.
No matter who voters cast a ballot for, these election results will likely bring some closure to Senate District 60. It also ends a little bit of the chaos that's come to define the beginning of this legislative session. DFLer Doran Clark will take his seat next week. That's because the Senate doesn't have a floor session today. When he does, the power sharing agreement with Republicans will end. That agreement was forged when the Senate was tied up 33-33. Meanwhile, in the House, the two parties are still in a stalemate as they haven't reached a compromise to split power. The DFL continues to boycott the temporary 1-seat majority Republicans have. So this will be the 3rd straight day that the GOP will be forced to immediately adjourn their 3:30 session. The state Supreme Court ruled they legally can't do business with just 67 members. Now, we know the 2 speaker designates are in negotiations, with some on the DFL side believing an agreement could come this week. So the bottom line here, the Senate special election ended a tie that lasted for about 2 weeks. The upcoming special election for the House is expected to create a tie, one that could theoretically last for the whole 2-year legislative session. Back to you.
In less than an hour, the man who pleaded guilty to speeding and causing a crash that seriously hurt a 17-year-old Hopkins student will be sentenced. The crash happened last March at the intersection of Highway 7 and Williston Road in Minnetonka. According to court documents, 29-year-old Mohammed Salad crashed into Lauren Olson's car at about 70 miles per hour. Officials say his driving privileges had been revoked before that crash. Olson suffered a severe brain injury and broken bones. We'll have more on what happens today in court tonight at 5. 2 Feeding Our Future defendants have pleaded guilty just days before their trial. The 2 defendants are Abdi Nur Salah, and former aide to Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, and Abdul Qadir Nur Salah, a former owner of Safari Restaurant off Lake Street. As part of the plea, they'll receive less prison time. Amy Bach, the former executive director of Feeding Our Future, and the other Safari owner are still set to begin trial on Monday. Posters promoting inclusivity across Lakeville area schools will be coming down eventually. Last night, the school board voted to remove them. The series was created in 2021, and the district says about 3,000 have been distributed. Since then, it's led to lawsuits and criticism from people who say they're anything but inclusive. After hours of heated discussion, the board made its decision to replace the posters with new ones focused on academic excellence. Now, until those posters are ready, the superintendent says the current series will stay in place.
If we continue to allow these signs to be displayed in our schools, then we need to be inclusive, and add Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. As we are all aware, these phrases have a political foundation to them as well.
It's not about these signs being political. It's the idea that these signs show students that you are welcomed here. Because a lot of our students go through the school day not knowing whether or not they will be accepted or loved and appreciated.
All of this is happening as the district is facing millions of dollars in budget cuts and a teacher shortage.